Will I survive? Will you survive? We are playing in a simulation about World War III. It stands to reason that we want to know if we're going to make it or not, especially through a world war. So here we have the simulation scriptures in number 8 answering that question. And just like with all of the other answers, it isn't cut and dry. It isn't black and white, yes or no. It is in that gray area of reality that makes us think. I know. I don't want to either. I just want an answer that's like, yes, you're going to make it. You're A-okay. But we don't have that. Maybe because we're playing on hard mode, maybe for other reasons, but we do not get a yes or no answer. Instead, we get this answer. And personally, I like it. I like the reality of it. I like how real it feels. So here we go. Let me know what you think. Number 8, will I survive? It is not yours to know if you will survive. As it is written in the New Testament, Restorations, Book 2, verses 1 through 3, fear not your simulated death. Experience your playthrough. Experience it fully. Wish for the experiences of trauma, pain, and suffering as equally as you wish for happiness, love, and fulfillment. Aim your life not at the target of survival, but instead at the target of living. This is where I'm going to pause because right there in that New Testament scripture, we get this gray reality where we are supposed to be. Because if we were people who wished for just happiness, love, and fulfillment and couldn't handle any kind of trauma, pain, or suffering, you and me, we would not be playing this simulation of World War III. We would be playing some sort of other simulation that doesn't have any of the negative things and just has a bunch of rainbows and unicorns and whatever else is happiness and love. But the fact that we are here means that you chose to be here and I chose to be here. And we chose to be here not to just survive a world war, the last world war. We chose to be here to live through it, to experience all of it. The rest of the answer gets into it. I feel like I'm skipping ahead, so let's just continue with it. And it continues with another quote by saying, written in Programs, Book 5, verses 1 through 5, the hard mode setting will be rewarded. Those who play the simulation on hard mode will be given heavy challenges. They will then be given heavy rewards. Their rewards shall be far above the challenges they face. Their rewards are programmed. Their survival is not. I'm going to pause one more time over here. One more time. Because this again tells us that we are playing on hard mode. I feel like I'm playing on hard mode. I'm guessing you being here listening to this, you also feel like you're playing on hard mode in this simulation, in a simulation about World War III. And it's telling us right here that even though our survival is not programmed, the rewards that we will have, they are programmed if we live through it. Which we're trying to do. So, let's move on to the last bit here. Therefore, live now. Live fully. Remember, after this World War III simulation ends, you return to eternal boredom. Live now. Live fully. Fear not your simulated death. Fear only not living. Will you survive the war to end all wars? Will you find your purpose, gather your group, and fight through the death of humanity? Will you survive and rebuild a better world? Will you experience the rebirth of humanity? Will you live? Will you die? The answer is not yours to know. Where would be the fun in playing this World War III simulation if you knew? Where would be the anticipation, the tension, the curiosity? You are here to discover who you are, who you really are. When the true tests of character arrive, when your humanity is brought to the test, who are you? Who are you when you and your friend are starving to death and you hold the last slice of bread? Who are you when the enemy tempts you with freedom, but you must give up your family? Who are you when you hold a weapon and your most hated enemy holds nothing? Who are you when you have money, incredible amounts of money, and you walk by your old enemy begging on the street? Who are you when you are powerful, holding the minds and hearts of loyal followers, and your enemy begs for mercy? Who are you, truly? Preach the simulation scriptures, go on side quests, and find out. Well, there we have it. The answer that we didn't want, but we needed. Because let's face it, the answer that I want, the answer that you want, is just in neon signs. Yes, you're going to survive an entire world war with all of your limbs intact. You'll be just fine. You'll have a whole bunch of loot and people surrounding you and all of the good stuff. So, get to it. It'll be fun. I want that answer. But we didn't get that answer. We got the answer that tells us that if we knew we would survive and everything would be peachy keen, then there wouldn't be that kind of curiosity and anticipation and tension. And I get it. I get it. Intuitively, it makes sense that, at least for me, tell me how you feel about this, but at least for me, if I went through World War III knowing I was going to survive, doing whatever I wanted, getting into the most dangerous, absurd situations, knowing I would be fine, then it just wouldn't feel real. It would feel like a game. It would kind of like give it away. And not only that, but on the other side of things, after the war, after rebuilding everything, if I knew I was going to survive, it wouldn't have the same gravity to it. I wouldn't feel the same sense of pride and accomplishment and those types of things. Whereas if I go through this simulation, not knowing if I'll survive or not, then at the end of the war, when the world is being rebuilt, if I made it there, I would feel an immense sense of pride and accomplishment. I would look back at everything that happened and that I went through and be like, whoa, I did it. And I'm sure it would be much more interesting to rewatch later on some sort of playthroughs, right? But let me know what you think. Is that what you're getting through it? From it? Or not? This one sentence resonates with me, so let me repeat it. Fear not your simulated death. Fear only not living. I feel like that's all I needed to hear. Because too often in life, I've gone through life fearing things. Whether it is actual death or whether it is, like fearing being awkward or being embarrassed or making a fool of myself or any of these other things that feel painful but aren't actually. I've too often gone through those kinds of things. And instead, the simulation scriptures are telling me, fear only, not living. Does that make sense? Fear not living, meaning that whether it is day to day or at the end of it all, I want to have lived through this simulation, really lived through it, and not been afraid of taking risks, not been afraid of saying something to somebody or doing something that feels risky. I don't want to fear that any longer. I want to live. And it seems like the simulation scriptures will teach us how to live. And they will bring into our lives levels of money, levels of power, levels of friends and family, so that we may be tested with those things, so that we may be challenged through those methods to find out who we really are. If we are somebody that shows mercy and kindness or not. If we are somebody that turns the other cheek or not. Who we are. And that, I suppose, is the whole point of it all. So, thank you for joining me in reading through number 8. And now we're on to number 9. What do I do now? The last question in the simulation scriptures.